Hello, friends, and welcome to Astro Mechanics, our weekly astrology show here on the Human Garage Network, where we talk about the astrology going on in our lives and how it turns in and translates into the mechanics of your spirituality and eventually the mechanics of your health. Energetically, we are coming out of a rather crazy energy. Pardon our little slight delay here in going live. Mercury is retrograde, or as I like to say, Mercury is metrograde. So technology things are happening left and right, and we had a little moment trying to get on live here with y'all. Welcome, everyone. Hello. Tell us where you are chatting from. Oh, you don't have sound? That's interesting. I guess, does anyone else have sound? Now, yeah, we'll see. Someone tell me if we don't hear sound. Because it's one of those days, I was just saying, we're having tech issues. So let me know if you don't have sound. Tell us, we're curious on, okay, thank you very much. Thank you. All right, cool. Perfect, excellent. Thank you for the hello. Tell us where you are chatting from and tell us your sun sign, step number, and sun. So the sun in degree, the rising in degree, the moon and the degree. And I'll be bringing three of you up in this show if you want to talk about what's going on in your astrology, what's going on in your chart. I'll give you a little spiritual advice as I see the planets and help you along your way. And before I do that, I just want to dive into where we are right now. And hold on, I can still be with my headphones and come out of camera. I needed my magical 4-color pen here to do today's work. So nice to see everyone. Welcome in Florida. Looks like Nicaragua, my goodness, Australia, UK. This is amazing. Hello, everyone. Eastern Shore of Maryland. Let's talk about what's going on this week. We have just come out of, God, boy, there's so much catching up to do. First, let's talk about kind of what we come out of. We have just had what we call eclipse season, and eclipses are major energetic events that happen with the sun and moon. So we had, of course, a lunar eclipse in the middle of the night in Libra. And then we had a solar eclipse in Aries about a week. Was it 2 weeks ago today? I think it is 2 weeks ago today. Yes. And what those do is do a major jolt and transformation of consciousness. So it sort of like jolts us, sort of headbutts us basically with the universe is what an eclipse does. And this too, karate chop punch was one to be more fair to yourself on the inside. So the first eclipse was 5 degrees Libra, which is your mind has to be a bit more fair about accepting your growth, accepting how far you have come. Your mind needs to be more fair to you when it approaches you on the inside. So our inner relationship, which I call the me ridge, was not on the level it needed to be. And so the first eclipse was like a karate chop, like, hey, cut it out. Quit talking down to yourself or get out of that repetitive thinking, whatnot. And then we also have Mercury retrograde during this time. So then our mind turns sort of inside out, which is actually good. When Mercury's retrograde, it's moving backwards in the sky. But what it means is that you're now looking at how you think. So normally we just think forward and we don't usually think about what we think about. Usually we just think. We don't think about what we think about. When Mercury retrogrades, you think about what you think about. And you think about whether or not your thoughts are really in alignment with what you want to be. So this is a powerful follow through. So we realize, okay, we have evolved, we have come out of our karma, and now it's time to think differently about ourselves. And so in this retrograde, we've been thinking differently about ourselves. And then we have the solar eclipse 2 weeks ago today, which was at 19 degrees. Was it 2 weeks ago? I just cannot believe the time going by so fast. Or was it 1 week ago? I cannot remember in my timeline. It was the 8th. So yeah, okay. So here we are already on another Thursday. So it was about 2 weeks ago. And energetically, that eclipse was for us to create a new grand I am statement, which is the reinvention of ourself, the putting ourselves into a new characterization of ourselves. That's what I call the grand I am. And this is becoming energetically this new karma-free, healed, uninterrupted, from karma and pain and trauma, really a rebirth, sort of a rise of the phoenix, if you want to say, is what that eclipse was. And since then, since that eclipse, we have been now feeling our way this week through what's really possible and what's not possible. And that's what this whole week has been, is really sharpening what's possible for my character of who I want to become. At the same time, Mercury retrograding off of Chiron and on its way to the North Node, where it will station direct on the 25th, by the way, is having us rethink about, well, if I'm going to be this new person that's now karma-free, then a lot of my daily activities, the things I do, how I work, who I work with, etc., is probably going to change. And so this week has been a lot about rethinking basically what the strategy is going to be, what the action plan is going to be. I just got out of a production meeting, and we just completely changed. We changed the format of something that we have had constant for 5 months, and we just were like, you know what, let's not do it this way, let's do it this way. And this last one, we completely re-architected how we were going to do it. It's a new show I have coming out here actually next week. I'm in total time warp. So Mercury is got one more week of being retrograde, figuring out the way in which we want to take our path. But we're pretty much launching the grand I am statement, this new version of who you are, really today. Today's step 29 Aries. Today's the day where you might be tested on this grand I am character. You might push the envelope. You might realize that you could go a little farther. You might realize you maybe bit off more than you can chew. Or you might realize you didn't aim high enough, that your character really can reach another level. Maybe you weren't giving yourself credit where credit was due. So today might be some tests, step 29 tests of that intention. And then tomorrow, the sun goes into Taurus. And this is really what I want to bring up today to kind of plant in your head until we meet again together next Thursday, which is it's now time for the grand I manifest. So we've created the grand I am, becoming this new version of yourself. Now this new person of you is going to manifest something grand in your life. I call these grand manifestations golden eggs. I call it a golden egg project, something that your heart has always wanted to manifest since you were born. You've always thought about it. In the next really 6 weeks, 40 days, starting from Friday, tomorrow, we're going to really have this amazing, potent ability to manifest and law of attract resources, people, situations, finances, etc. for that particular project. In the same token, it's worth saying that you will also manifest a crap load of drama, or you'll manifest, a bad situation for yourself. So for the next 6 weeks, your energy is incredibly potent, in the sense that what you be is what will come. And it will come faster and a little bit more over the top than it's ever been before. And this powerful manifestation period, which is very rare. I've never seen it in my entire life, by the way, as an astrologer. I've never seen this much potency in manifestation. It's because Jupiter and Uranus are conjoining in Taurus this Sunday, April 20th, at 21 degrees Taurus. 21 is a net 3. Net 3 is forever and ever and ever and ever and ever, right? So net 3 is this repeating pattern that goes on into infinity. So Sun and Jupiter Jupiter and Uranus conjoining at 21 says those two conscious energies can go into infinity in either direction. Now, Jupiter is our belief structure in the 3D. Uranus is the dimension in which we're looking at. So what this is we have full pliability for our narrative can go any direction, and our narrative can go in any dimension. And this is what opens up the season of Taurus. So what this basically is, and I just want to underscore it, you could have never done work your entire life, been always lazy as F. And if you apply yourself starting tomorrow, you'll manifest in 6 weeks. You're going to manifest something instantly. In the same sense, if you don't get out of your bad emotional pattern, or get out of something you're holding on to, if you're dragging your knuckles, if you're harboring emotional resentment, it's going to grow into something very sickly, I believe, very quickly, to the point where it knocks you down. So this manifestation energy is going to hang people who are stuck in the shadowy energy. It's going to become incredibly heavy shadow and weigh people down. if you're light as a feather, it's going to also manifest really, really quickly as well. So whatever you be in the next 6 weeks is what will manifest potently. And of course, Gary and I have planned our event in Austin, Texas, during the apex of this growth. In fact, from the week Gary starts his all the way to the weekend that my in-person event wraps up, Unite the Light, that week is the most potent and most powerful week of manifestation there is really this entire decade, to be honest, which is why I wanted the birthday of Unite the Light on December 18th, was for that birthday. The same will be true with Gary. So I hope to see you all there. If you all don't know, go to Gary's website, humangarage.net. Take a look at their event, which is the week prior, the Sunday prior. And our event will be Saturday and Sunday, the 18th and 19th. It's unitethelight.love. Would love to see you there. We're going to be doing some co-creating there. We're going to be some networking. We're going to be creating community there. And that's really what we'll be talking about here through what I call the Summer of Love. But for the open today, what's important for you to know, for you until we meet again next week, is that starting tomorrow, everything you be in your energy will start to multiply at a very rapid rate. And there are no limits. The only limits are the limits you put on yourself. Okay, so if you put limits on yourself, you will manifest those limits. I do believe this is a time where you're going to see new energy break away from old sort of setups. And so I think you're going to start to see now a split, probably some sort of split in the presidential race, I would imagine. I think you're going to see a split in politics, split in different policies. We're going to see narratives starting to split now. All right, so let's bring someone up on camera here. I would love to have someone. I'm going to just randomly choose, but I'd love to talk to people about what's going on in their life and be of service to you, to try to help you here. And we'll just see what we have. I sort of just, it's evolved me. That looks good. About what's going on in her neck of the woods. I would have been outside today, but it started raining here in Colorado. Let's see if Stephanie comes on. Indeed, here she is. Hello, Stephanie.
Hi,
How are
I'm good.
you?
Thank you.
Good. Nice to make your acquaintance.
You
You look familiar. I wonder if I've seen you before. Have we talked before?
No, but I've been on a few lives with Gary.
Oh, okay, gotcha. It all blurs together in this position. Do you know your sun, rising, and moon stuff?
I do. I'm a 24-degree Sagittarius sun, a
Mm,
6-degree Scorpio moon, and I think either a 13 or a 22 rising Leo.
mm. Okay, you just know you're a net four.
I'm not sure if that
Basically,
is.
13 or 22, yeah. Gotcha. And do you have a question?
Well, I hear you talk about the grand I am statement,
Mm-hmm.
and like for me, it's kind of been coming at me to kind of just sit in patience. And I feel like the grand I am is patient. Um, but as far as like manifesting, I also feel like I'm not sure if I'm leaning toward, because my biggest thing for the past couple of years has been obviously like healing my body. We're a military family and our water was poisoned with the jet fuel.
Oh, I've actually heard this story before on one of my other
So
subscribers.
that's my healing journey. That's kind of how I found Human Garage. But it's also kind of merged into this like identity, um, I guess like manifesting into my identity as well, because I'm an indigenous peoples and that's something that I've always struggled with. And it was crazy how it wasn't really, I kind of just lived in that struggle and it wasn't kind of in the forefront until after I started this healing journey and Gary's kind of brought me back into my culture. And so, yeah, like my grand I am, as I've been feeling like patient, but also like as far as manifesting, I'm not sure like where I'm really supposed to be going with it. Should it be like focusing on that health? Because I still have such big hurdles with that, or is it something else?
Okay, so I think it sounds like part of your grand I am is that I am an indigenous survivor, or that grand I am is sort of like how we identify ourselves in this new era. And so it sounds like to some degree you've circled back to your heritage, which I think is great. And I also think that's something that's trending for us. Healing has to come first, regardless. I mean, we cannot not heal, right? Like, um, but for Leo risings, 13 or 22 degrees, you are going through a life transformation right now with Saturn in your eighth house. I'm not exactly sure how far in your eighth it is because we don't know if you're 30, 13 or 22-degree rising, but it does mean that you are closing down to a lot of emotional boundaries that you had and opening up to new ones. So basically, your emotional comfort zone is changing, is what's happening. And the what the astrology says is that your wound was, your karma came up through boundaries that weren't managed to the best of their ability. And in this case, something infiltrated your health, so something broke in. So you had basically a break in entry, a breaking in and entry of a toxic poison. So energetically, it makes you hyper aware of like what is appropriate, what's not appropriate, where is the line, what do I feel comfortable with, what do I feel safe with. And then once you sort of feel what you feel comfortable and safe with, Jupiter and Uranus are in your 10th house.
Hmm.
So you're being guided to manifest some sort of new direction in your legacy. So this is a legacy shift. And do you feel anything sort of formal like that for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm in the LSA 2 program for Human
Ah,
Garage, and I've slowly started to um, kind of open up, I guess, like in a way that I've never felt comfortable doing. Like I said, the struggle of being an Indigenous person. I'm Indigenous to the state of Texas, so I get thrown into a lot of titles that don't resonate with me.
mm,
But I've just kind of throughout my life, and it just kind of it is it was what it was. But lately I've been going through a lot of like language programs. It's what I've always done. I help with a nonprofit organization, trying to rebirth our languages as Indigenous peoples, and I've kind of slipped that into the Human Garage community, and it's been so well accepted, and it's kind of giving me this feeling of just kind of being me, like sitting into an identity that I didn't have to give a title to, just kind of sharing my passion of Indigenous languages.
interesting. Well, there you go. It sounds like and I think I think we're all creating new community. So, with a Leo rising, this is 13 or 22 either. Pluto's still in your sixth house. So part of what you're creating now is a high vibration lifestyle.
Mm.
And what that lifestyle means. So part of what you're doing is creating a life that supports this direction. And come this summer, Jupiter goes into your 11th house, which means that it will be time to now get the word out or for you to craft your first social reputation in this new grand I am statement. So you're going to manifest in the next 6 weeks. You're going to be manifesting career opportunities like crazy.
Oh wow. Okay.
Okay. Now career is also like you run the head of a nonprofit, or you part of a volunteer group, or Mothers Against Drunk Drivers. Like it's not always something that's paid, but it is something that ends up defining you. And I hate to put in these terms, but something people would read at your funeral. Like she was known for, that's sort of what you're laying the foundation on right now, with what you're doing. So that's profound.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, that makes me super excited. It's always so. Um, it's been so since, especially since the eclipse. It's been a little hard to kind of like feel confident in what I'm feeling because it's so brand new. It's like
Ah.
this is the direction, but I've never felt like this called to a specific direction. I've always kind of just blended into my environment, especially being a military family. We move every 2 years and you're just a new place every 2 years. And like you have to kind of blend in. So this has been something that's been very profound and new, but exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting. And I'll tell you, a lot of people, I'm glad you're sharing your story because the world's in a crappy place, right? Politics, pollution, big business, corruption, inflation, toxicity in the food, water, air, right? I can go on and on. I don't want to make everyone sad, but a lot of people have lost hope and felt like, is anything going to change? And you are the answer. What people don't realize is there are people like yourself who've been sitting by the sidelines this entire time and
Mhm.
just watching all this stuff go down. And what the astrology says is that there's going to be a rising up of the people really between now and the end of this year. And you are a perfect example of that, where suddenly people who were not necessarily in the conversation, now take a place in the conversation and starts really stealing the attention away from where it's been. So it's nice to see you standing up and representing.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for your time today.
Oh, my pleasure. Come back anytime. I'm a Leo rising too, girl, so we're family.
Awesome.
Okay, I think you have to X out yourself, if I'm not mistaken, how this works. And we will go to Ivanova, I think is what it is. I think so. You know, when it's a username, it's kind of hard. Ivanova, I like that. Sounds like a sounds like a cool song. An Ivanova. Oh, she declined. Okay, Ivanova, no problemo. People, I think, sometimes accidentally hit the button that they want to be on. Let's go to Cotes. Stacy Cotes, 6 to 7. Let's see if she comes up. Stacy, are you with us? Hi, Ivana. I invited you on. Hey, Sydney.
Yay!
Hi, how's it going? Stacy, right?
Yay!
Hi. Hey.
Oh, crap. I can't see you.
S-
Like
s-
everybody in Human Garage who says that's a Gary.
Okay, gotcha. I hear that a lot on the receiving end. I'm sorry. I think I IG's been really messy in this Mercury retrograde, like for everyone.
Yeah, that's okay. I watch every day, so.
I'm not pretty. You're not missing out on anything. What's your sun, moon, and rising? Do you know?
The 9-degree
Is
Taurus.
your sun?
Yes.
Oh, hello, moo, 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 moo.
No, hi,
And
Bull Gang.
what's your moon?
My moon is 29 Capricorn.
Mm, that's some
Mm.
serious business. And what's your rising?
21 Cancer.
Oh, okay. So your
Yeah,
moon is almost opposite your rising, pretty much in your seventh house, right?
yeah,
Okay. And that puts your sun in the 10th house, I guess, right? Do you know?
yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
So how can I be of service for you?
Okay. So I don't know if anybody else feels this, but I listen to you every day. I follow uh, everything you say. And I know that I'm a master builder. And like
Mm-hmm.
my whole life, or recently, I felt I'm supposed to be doing something big.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, right now, I just stay at home. Or I'm a stay at home mom, but my kids are older now.
Oh.
So I'm looking for a new adventure. And I usually wait till I feel it. And every time I think of my great I am, I'm like, all right, I'm going to do human garage special maneuvers online. No. I'm going to go back to teaching. No. So I'm waiting for that spark.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay.
But
So I
yet
think you,
sometimes I get in a panic when you're like, okay, so by tomorrow, if you don't,
well, I'm like a sailor and I cuss like one too. And I basically am just saying the winds are picking up if you want to catch that sail.
do.
That's what I'm trying to give you, but I'm not trying to make you feel bad if you're not moving. Sometimes moving is just creative process. It's not necessarily like hands-on carpentry. But I think what you're probably doing, I mean, I'm not sure if you know where your Mercury is, but
Yes.
that moon at
27 Aries.
okay. All right. So I think your Mercury at 27 and your moon at 29 Capricorn,
Yeah.
you're a soul that it's always like you're always focused on how things end up. Well, how's it going to end up? Okay. Your mind's like, what's it going to end up? What's it going to end up being? And your emotions are like, what's it going to end up feeling? And so part of the problem that you're having is that you're going down a completely new path in your life, as all of us are, by the way. We're all about to do a new adventure together.
Yeah.
You've never probably done it before. It's probably on your bucket list in heaven, but it's
Hmm.
not probably something your soul is aware of right now. Like you're aware of subconsciously, but you're not aware of consciously because you have
Yes.
nothing in this life to relate it to
Yes,
because it's
that's how
totally
it
new.
feels. Like things just
So,
came easily to me before. Like I always
yep.
wanted to be an elementary teacher, and that just easily came to me. And then I have 5 kids, so I stayed at home. And then when I was getting a little like antsy, this farm, this farm job came up, and I was like, that feels good. And that just came up. I've left that at 2020, and now I'm just like waiting.
Well, you've done the two lifetimes you had before, popping out kids and popping out fruits and vegetables. So so really, what has to happen is you have to interview yourself on a more subtle, like more simple kindergarten level. You got to take it down to kindergarten, which is like, okay, little Stacy, do you want to be outside every day or inside every day?
Do that. I seriously do that.
Okay, that's what you have to do. And it's like, do you want to work with people or by yourself? Like, and you
Yeah.
just have to sort of kind of like segregate and at least find some generic yeses and nos, which by the way is step zero. So in the 11 steps of serious joy, step zero is you create the space. And so I'm actually giving you step zero. Step zero is a yes bucket and a no bucket,
Okay.
black and white. So the first thing I would do is I would rule out all the stuff that you absolutely know you're not in the mood for,
Okay.
and then look at the things that you are in the mood for, and then sort of just like call the universe like, okay, show me more, universe. I need to see more of this stuff. And and really, if you then go into observer mode and you make that commandment, show me more, then literally your eyes will literally turn into spiritual scanner to where you have to literally watch your eyes. So you'll find that your eyes will fall onto a billboard without you asking your eyes to go there. You'll find that your eyes fall onto a commercial, and you're staring at it and you're not really paying attention, but you found yourself staring at it. So your own soul will actually start to like play Pictionary with you.
I
Like two
thought so.
syllables sounds like,
Yeah.
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 And you
I've
start to
been
see
looking
like,
for that. And it's funny because 2 days ago, my Facebook feed, which came up really unusual, every, no joke, every single piece of the feed came up as a coach, like a life coach.
oh,
That,
okay.
and I was like, huh, is this what you're telling me? I don't know if I really want to be that.
Okay, so what you do when that happens is you go to your inner child and you ask your heart, like, would you like to be a life coach? And
Okay.
and she might say, yes, but not this way. Or
Oh,
she might say, yeah, but I like the word coach. Or
oh,
like, so she might say, kinda, but not the way they do it. Like, so what you basically got to interview your heart. And
okay.
you're such a doer because you're a step nine Taurus.
Uh-huh.
So you're a doer.
Yeah.
So doers don't know what to do when there's nothing to do, right? And so what's weird is to figure out what to do, they have to do something to figure out what to do. They can't figure out what to do not doing something because you're a doer. So what I've given you today is like the doing is interviewing your inner child. You need to take
Okay.
your inner child and interview every day. Be like, well, and you just sort of like touch your heart with your left hand. Be like, does my heart light up at this? Does my heart light up at that? And you're basically like a metal detector. You're waiting for your heart to get excited. And
Okay.
trust me, when it gets excited, it's undeniable. There's no like, well, was that really exciting or not? No, like when someone
Yeah.
hits, it's like, oh my God, that's a great idea. Oh my God,
Yeah.
I could do so much this and I could create and and if your creativity starts to open up, like, oh, I can wear this to work and I'll do this every day and I'll drive this way. So your creativity stirs up. That's the sign that you're on the right
Yeah.
path. That's the
I
sign.
agree.
Yeah. Because when you find that, you strike that gold. Now, here's the truth: the astrology says you're probably actually not right now. As a Taurus, you're sort of building up the faith in yourself right now, and so technically, you don't really start shopping until Friday. So you're not even behind. You're actually ahead.
Okay.
You're ahead. The fact that you're asking this already is a little early.
I've been asking
What
for a while.
What's a big change? I think with Jupiter and Uranus and Taurus, Tauruses are the master builders of the new era, and they're figuring out what they want to build. But I would imagine you'll be off and running here really fast. And if I were you too, by the way, if you know like 80%, go ahead and get started and see if it sticks.
Okay.
So a lot of times you have to get started and you're like, oh, not this way. And then you back out and you try another way. So, be okay with starting and stopping stuff because
I was
again, you're a
wondering that.
doer. You're
I
a
was wondering
doer.
that because I had like an idea, but like, and as you said, I have no idea how it's going to manifest. but don't worry about that. If it's something in your
Oh,
mind, then like I want to start new school. I don't like the old public system of schooling, and so
okay. Well, I can start manifesting that right now.
yeah,
I mean, if you want to start a school right off the bat, there's homeschool parents that need organization that can't handle it. They pulled their kids out, they don't know how to do it. Like the customers are there right now
yeah,
if your heart wanted to. But then once you start doing it, you might go, "Oh, my heart just wants to know there's better education, but I don't actually like grading paper." So that's why you have to actually do it because what we fall in love with is really a process. We fall in love with being a certain way.
yeah,
That's what we love is the being of it. And so sometimes you have a great idea, but then you try to be it and you're like, that's not fun. It's gonna be fun to be it. Like there's no way I love doing astrology on camera. There's no way I could do it for hours and hours like I do if I didn't love it. I love it. It brings out the best in me. Yeah.
you
So
can tell.
I fully believe you're going to figure out what you need to do. And here's the other
Mm,
thing because you have a mastermind at 27 Aries, um, you've got to take it back to the kindergarten and realize that you have this tendency to jump ahead to
yeah,
just like you just did. You're like, how's it going to manifest? That was your Mercury jumping ahead. It's like, whoa, whoa,
yeah,
whoa. All we need is today's step. The
yes,
fact that you think about 21 steps ahead, because that's what you do think is about 21 steps ahead, um, is brilliant. And that means that you'll always, once you get a start for something, you're always going to find your way. But
yeah,
when you're starting over, like in this part, you got to force your mind to be kindergarten and start with kindergarten because you have a tendency to jump to mastery right off the bat. Yeah,
yep.
which is like, I'll have 5 kids. Okay, that's a fertile ball. Well, come back and tell us like how you do because I'd love to find out what you end up doing. A school would be great. I think there's a lot of great stuff. I also think too, just for everyone watching,
Yeah,
I think a lot of shift is going to go down with the country, between now and September. And a lot of people are going to be inspired by stuff they just could no longer tolerate. So some people were meant to be like, did George Washington want to be a general before the revolution? Probably not. I don't think he cared much about military. But it came up. He was the most qualified. He's like, shit, fine. I'll run the damn army. Like it wasn't something he was planning. It took a world event, right, to get him to realize what his calling was in history. And for some of you watching, and for you too, you may see something in society like you are seeing rotting education, and you may be inspired by what you see, and it may come from there that you have a solution for something that needs to be fixed. Now, to the tangent, I personally believe that education is going to go off the grid to private communities now.
yay,
So there's a lot of communities that light worker
yeah,
communities that are
yeah,
forming right now. Many of those builders will be at this Unite the Light event, by the way, and they all need schools.
yeah.
Like I think there's a lot of potential for that idea if your heart really loves being it.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, you have your knack for kids. I'll give you that, Stacy.
Yeah.
Where are you located in the country or in the world?
I'm outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I'm in the Chester County area of
Hmm.
Pennsylvania.
Okay, that's where this whole revolution started in America. So you're right where it is.
That's what I'm
well,
thinking.
well, come back and let us know how you're doing. Okay.
You got it.
All right.
Thank
Thank you for doing it blind. I
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Love everything you
Oh,
do.
thank
Appreciate it.
you. I love you too. What a sweet thing.
Bye, everybody.
Bye bye. We're now going to try. I think a Kirsten. I think her name is Kirsten. I clicked on a K. There she is. Hi. Hi. How's it
Hi.
going?
Good. How are
I,
you?
I'm doing great. Looks like it's lovely weather where you
Yeah.
are. We have rain here. What's do you know it's Kirsten, is that correct?
Kirsten,
Hi
yeah.
Kirsten, nice to meet you. Do you know your sun rising and moon?
Uh, Sun is 12 degrees Scorpio, and then
Oh,
moon is 29 degrees Scorpio, and
wow.
then rising is 22 degrees Aquarius.
22 Aquarius?
Yeah.
Well, you're a force to be reckoned with. What do you do?
Right now, I'm just a stay-at-home mom, just homeschooling my daughter.
Okay.
Yeah.
So quiet in hiding.
Yes.
Gonna come out. Great. Well, you have amazing potential in your chart, and I'm sure you'll be cute when the time is right. Amazing
Yeah.
children are actually part of that legacy. How can I help you today?
Well, I feel kind of stuck
Okay.
just in life, like in every aspect. And I do feel like I'm hiding, just like
Hmm.
you said.
Yeah, you are hiding.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, your son, it looks like you are some sort of a teacher by nature. You absorb content information really fast, right?
Yes, if I enjoy it, I do.
Right. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So you definitely are here to be. I mean, first of all, I think the big thing for Aquarius rising is sort of like your values are changing right now. So, it's sort of like you don't want to buy a car if you don't know if you value safety versus sportiness. Like you're literally changing what is important to you and what's not important to you.
Mhm.
And so when you're in that sort of change, it's sort of like standing in front of the fridge, hungry and not knowing what to eat. Like, and the core issue really, if you want to speed up the process, the core issue is like, well, what's really important to me right now?
Sorry.
And just like the last caller we had, you got to start sort of basic with yourself because your moon is 29 Scorpio. So just like our last caller, you tend to jump to the end. You're like, what's the big? I want to know the whole thing.
Yeah.
And God's like,
Yeah.
no, it's not going to happen that way. It's going to be a little bread, pieces of bread, that because the whole point is the discovering and the uncovering. That's the unwrapping of the present of life. That's what's most exciting. So part of you is expecting to have this answer here, and you won't even know that answer when you get there. Just so you know, like by the time you even get to
Right.
that level, you'll be like, this isn't what I thought it was at all. It's not
Yeah.
going to be, like, so we're kidding ourselves and even thinking we know what that's going to end up like. We really only know what we want next. So
Mhm.
for you, it's like, well, what do you value? Do you
Mhm.
value hanging out with people? Do you value being seen? Do you value other talking to other moms? Do you value making little crafts and selling them? Like,
Mhm.
what do you enjoy putting your time and energy into?
I feel like I enjoy so like my problem is I think I'm so different than everybody else that I can't find people similar to me. Just my beliefs, the way I live, everything about me is very controversial. It's always on the opposite end of the spectrum of how everyone usually lives.
Yep.
And so I find those friendships or conversations with people just meaningless and not worth my energy or time. And I've gone through like a huge transformation in the last like 4 years where I've cut almost everybody off because it just doesn't align with me at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I've met people that are nice and stuff, but then when I talk to them, I'm like, no, I'm not going to waste my energy because they're either extremely religious and I'm not religious. You know what I'm saying? And then
Mm,
they show that that's very important to them, and it's like I really like them, but I know that will get in the way. So I've just kind of cut myself off from everybody
mm-hmm.
and just kind of stay with my daughter and like until it's worth it. But then I feel like it's never worth it because you know what I'm saying? Like I'm stuck in this like circle.
Okay, so I think first of all, the reason why you're not attracting people like yourself is because you're not really sure of who you are.
Okay.
So, so when we are sort of isolated like you are, the reason is because we're learning about little nuances about ourselves. And God is basically saying, I'd love to give you some cool friends, but who the hell are you?
Yeah.
What's a cool friend? Like,
Yeah.
right? Tell me what a cool friend is, Kirsten. Right? Like, so you're getting to know yourself, and astrologically, you are. This is a home building time, a family building time. With Aquarius rising, Jupiter and Uranus are in your fourth house, so you're actually, technically in the big picture of things, you're laying the concrete for something you're going to build in the future. So what you're doing right now is you're laying the
Mhm.
foundation of being emotionally cared for, knowing your own personal values, what you value, what you don't value. This would also be home family, situation. But also it could be if you were like, let's say you began to get interested into astrology, like, oh, I love astrology.
Yeah, I love astrology. Yeah.
Okay, well, there you go. So what I recommend you do is you go ahead and pursue the things that you love, Like whatever you love, what do you love spending time and energy? What do you like putting your time and energy into? And seeing how far you go with that. Like, do you end up losing 6 hours in it because it's so much fun? So you may find that pursuing these little interesting avenues ends up building a foundation to something you're going to be in the future. Meaning, you might be, astrology might be one of the tools you end up using
Yeah.
for what you do. Um,
Okay.
but being a 22-degree Aquarius rising, oh, you're here to actually disrupt.
Oh, I know, and it's not fun. I don't like it. Without even
Well,
trying, to be honest.
okay. Well, you know what? It'll be when it is fun, that's when it's time for you to disrupt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it'll be fun. When it's your turn up to bat, it'll be fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It won't, and they'll come at the same time. And
Okay.
and that's kind of what you're building. I mean, what you're building is the foundation in
Mhm.
really knowing yourself and knowing your values so strongly that you can go boo and sort of dare someone to be different.
Mhm.
When they kick back and go, no way, you're going to be really grounded like lightning in a bottle,
Mhm.
unwavering in
Mhm.
yourself in that moment. So
Okay.
basically, you're a force to be reckoned with, and right now you're building the force.
Okay. So right now I'm just kind of like gaining the knowledge that I need to gain, self empowerment, all of that stuff, so I can feel confident when it's time to disrupt.
Yep, you're basically
Okay.
you're forming your opinion is
Okay.
what you're doing, and you're sitting back and watching. As a
Yeah.
step 22 Aquarius rising, um, you're a person who comes in and builds the new. So you got to go ahead and watch. Everything's got to come crumbling down, go into turmoil, become hopeless, worried that nothing will happen, and then you show up.
Okay. Well, that's all happened so far, so I think we're getting to the
We,
end.
we are,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
and you show up and you say, "I think when we rebuild, we should build it differently."
Yeah, for
So
sure.
So you're here to say, and being a Scorpio, because you're a Scorpio at 12 degrees Scorpio, so you'll start with a philosophy. So you're going to come up with a philosophy. Like here's a philosophy. Let's be nice to each other. You're
Yeah.
going to have philosophies, and then your moon at 29 is going to know like how far and how strong. So
Okay.
the way you're wired is you're really wired to measure the distance of something. So
Okay.
so you'd be really good at like, well, how long should a school day be in an enlightened school? You're like, well, the philosophy is the child should learn, but the end result there is like, but not too far away from the parents. So
Mhm.
you're gonna end up gauging things for the world where the lines are from here to here,
Okay.
from here to here, and you're gonna say it should be another whole level higher. So you're sort of a person who's here to build foundation, the new foundation.
Okay.
But you're building your own foundation
Yeah.
first. So you're
Yeah.
sort of piloting. Another way of looking at this is go build the perfect life. Like what is being a
Yeah.
perfect citizen? What is being a perfect mom? What does
Yeah.
perfect mean in the new world? Food, all these things. Because just having that settled for yourself will make you an authority for others when they're in that dilemma.
So right now I'm in the right spot.
Yeah.
So it's okay for me to be hiding right now because I've done like astrology a lot, and everyone has always told me like you need to be out in the public, but I'm like no, but I don't feel ready to do that, and I always felt like I'm pulling away from my purpose because I'm hiding right now, and it always made me feel guilty. But now
Mm,
it makes sense that I need to build myself before I can go out and feel confident when I how I execute things when I'm executing things.
totally. And
Okay.
as a Scorpio, you're figuring out what your heart wants.
Hmm.
As an Aquarius rising, you're figuring out what you care about. So you literally don't know what your heart wants and cares about. Basically, you don't know. If I give you $1 million, you would like, I don't know how to spend this. Like you literally don't know what to do with the power. So you're kind of figuring out what you want, but you're not going to miss your time. Like
Okay.
don't worry. Like being an Aquarius rising, like it'll fall right in your lap exactly when it's meant to happen. You really
Okay.
can't. You'll trip over it. You won't be able to miss it.
Okay.
Yeah. It'll
That
be
makes me feel a lot better.
and you'll be like, damn it, I think this is the time. So it'll be like bittersweet. Like you're like, I got to come out of my comfort zone. How old is your child?
She's 8. She's gonna be
Oh,
9 in June. So
okay, that's great. Good for you. And where do you live in the world? It looks nice there.
Florida.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, raising children, it's like we don't realize too, especially because if you are awake and aware and you're a good parent, it's not a lot of work really to be a
Yeah.
good parent
Yep.
and you're kind of like, well, this is it. This is all God needs from me.
Yep.
And it's just like, actually, it's a lot. Like it's everything to that child.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's really hard to see just how profound the work you're doing with your child really is, and who your child, who your child is going to be in the future. Look at her chart. But usually when we're set to the sidelines and we're raising kids, it's because
Yeah.
those kids are important.
That's a really good way to look at that. I didn't see it like that because it's true. It's so true.
She's probably important in the future.
She's yeah.
And so God's like, no, raise her. We need her for the revelation. Then we'll call on you to raise hell. So there's a lot of special kids coming out right now that are going to inherit the earth that we change, right?
Hmm.
So it's just as important. This is why Hitler's youth and all the dark, things on the earth always went after the kids, is because you can change the world, but then if you hand it off to kids that aren't ready, it goes right back to where it was or gets taken over.
Yeah.
So you have to prepare the next generation while you're changing.
That
you
makes
know.
sense. I get
Mhm.
that.
Yeah. So I think some of the work you're doing. But let us know. Come on back and let us
I
know.
will. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to meet you. Say
You
hello to
too.
your daughter.
I will. Thank
Okay, bye
you.
bye.
Bye.
We will do one little quickie because we started late today. So I'm going to put on one. I How can I refuse Sparkle Butterfly 333? How can I refuse Sparkle Butterfly 333? That's the question. How can you refuse Sparkle Butterfly 333? We'll see if she comes on. She did. Hello,
I
Sparkle.
did. Oh my
Hi.
gosh, yay. Okay, like the other one, I can't see you, but that's okay.
Yeah, we're gonna figure out what that's about. That's so weird, but
I think it's a little Mercury action going on.
yep, it's okay. You're not missing much, honey. What's your sun, moon, and rising? Do you know?
I do. I am 5 degree Scorpio sun.
Oh, okay. I've known a couple of y'all.
Yes.
Okay.
0 degree Scorpio
Whoa,
moon.
that's freaky deaky.
Yeah. And my rising, where is my rising? I think it's Capricorn. Yeah, 13 degree Capricorn.
Hmm. Okay.
But I also have Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, Neptune, all in Scorpio.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a trip.
That's a lot of energy in Scorpio.
Yeah, basically my entire chart is all Scorpio, a little Libra, and then one thing in Taurus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's very heavy on one side of the chart.
Yeah, so
Um,
that means that let's see, 13 Libra. So your sun's in the 11th, I guess. All that energy's in the 11th house, right?
Mm,
What do you do?
a lot of it is. So I do a bunch of things. I grew up in the theater and dance world. Um,
Yay.
yeah, I wear a lot of different hats. I've now recently taken sort of created a new thing where I do my qigong training and I incorporate it with theater improv, and I have a weekly gathering with women to help them heal through movement and joy and all sorts of good things.
Well, that's wonderful.
Yeah, yeah. And I was in a very dark place for about a year and a half, and Human Garage really shifted me out of that, which was really so super amazing.
Yeah,
So I'm
Scorpios
so
were holding on to their pain.
yeah, yeah, and it was like sitting in my solar plexus for about a year and a half, and it was extraordinarily challenging
Yeah.
um, to get through
Yeah,
the day.
well, I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, Scorpios, it's time. Here's the thing for Scorpios. You guys have to give the world a second chance, or you're never going to be happy. And I know you feel like you've given everyone enough chances already,
Yeah.
but honestly, it didn't really count till now.
Okay.
Everyone was going to be stupid until now. Everybody.
Yeah.
No one was getting out of it. So everyone was, kind of insane. So Scorpios have got to give the world a fresh slate, at least the world you want to
Okay.
work with. Not you don't have to like forgive idiots
Right.
back into your life, but like, give mankind a second chance.
Okay.
because
Okay.
because right now the universe wants your dreams to come true, and your history of being burned is taking the romance off of the dream.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And
Okay.
like you all need to just fall in love
Right.
with what you want to do. So
Right.
what's your question? What do you want to do?
Um, well, so that wasn't even really my question. My question actually is, I recently was sort of introduced to a little boy,
Huh?
a baby. It's actually his first birthday tomorrow.
Oh,
And yeah, and I was like curious about him. There was something about him that just like really grabbed my attention. So I ran his chart. I don't have his birth time, but
right.
from what I could get, he's a 29 degrees
Huh.
Aries sun.
His birthday's yesterday. Okay, yeah. Today.
Um, and his moon is 22 degrees Aries.
Woo.
Yeah. And it's kind of interesting because he's sort of like the opposite side of the chart from myself.
Mm,
His Chiron is 16 degrees Aries. So he's got like a lot of Aries, Pisces, Taurus, all
mm,
kind of in that zone. And so I was very curious because I've been hearing, Gary talking about the 29 degrees, like the master. So I
mm-hmm.
wanted to see if you had sort of any insight about what this little soul's mission, this 29 degrees Aries, 22 moon Aries, all that. If you just had any sort of thoughts about that and just like
Yeah, he's
a connection with me.
uh, let me think about
But
connections
first,
to you.
I mean, you can like answer whichever one first, or
Yeah.
yeah.
So his energy probably falls in your fourth or fifth house. So, you are a natural nurturer for him. Like, so you energetically hold emotional space for him. Um, we don't know his rising, so we're not quite sure. But he's here to start. He's a fire starter. Like he's here to start some fires. But he's a little gun shy because he was wounded by organized religion. So he was motivated as some sort of spiritual something in a past life. So his ego has the past life. He's an overachiever that has a chip on his shoulder from having been wounded.
Hmm.
So what's going to happen is he's going to be overachieving most of his life until he's about 30.
Hmm.
And somewhere he's going to fail big time and have to get over it. Like, so these types of people, a lot of times what happens is be careful with injury with this kid. He's a little too wound up, as far as running into a tree, chasing cars. Like, he's just the type of personality that um, will play with fire.
Right.
And at some point, usually for kids like this, he's like a warrior spirit. So dollars to donuts, he's going to go into athletics and sports probably, because these little warrior spirits, they need like physical contact, usually more violent, like football, or usually with or wrestling or something like that. Like they need an outlet for that macho energy. And then a lot of times what happens, because of his Chiron at 16, he could have an injury or something that he remanifests. Not that I'm putting it on him, but this is usually what happens, that ends up not allowing him to be that athlete. And so that's like the recreation of that wound in the past, of the frustrated ego not getting what it wants. So this kid is going to do profoundly good, but he's going to go through a lot of frustration, trying to temper his ego, because his ego is so overcommitted to being on top again, and has the past life memory of having once failed, which makes him want to try even harder. And what he's learning is to probably really get connected to his feelings and his heart before he aims.
Hmm. Okay. Um, it's interesting because he was a preemie. So
Oh wow,
I'm
he's already fighting for life.
Yeah.
Already,
So,
already fighting for life. See, that's exactly it right there.
yeah.
See, life is a struggle. He's already started with it, that theme.
Yeah. I can't remember. He was either 2 or 3 months
Wow.
premature and also put
Yeah.
up for adoption.
Whoa.
So there's like a
And
lot.
abandoned. Wow.
Yeah. There's
Woo.
a lot going on.
Well, with all your energy in Scorpio, what that does for you is it gives you the ability to really fine tune a boundary structure around a person that's necessary, like a very high resolution boundary structure. So, what that means is like a kid like this has special needs. Okay.
Yeah.
Like he has a lot of special needs because he's special
Yeah.
and he has failure on his consciousness. So, he's very, very talented and he's anxious to go out and prove himself again. So, it takes a very high resolution parent for this type of child because it's like this type of child, maybe you do let him go a couple extra laps around the track because he needs to wear himself out. This kind of child maybe needs to be the winner of Monopoly tonight because his ego needs to win at least once a week.
Hmm.
But then he has to be told no about these, so it's a lot of yeses and nos in lots of weird little places.
Right.
Which you have the talent with all those planets in Scorpio, you can be like a total walking paradox of boundaries. Like she's open to corn, but she hates the color yellow. You know what I mean? Like all sorts of paradoxical yeses and nos is what you're capable of with all those Scorpio planets. And that's what he's gonna need. He's gonna need a lot of like very high vibration, highly conscious boundaries of when to start and stop because this kid is sort of like set up to run his head right into a wall, right? Like
Hmm.
just the way he's set up. So he needs a helmet and he needs a
Right.
parent that he needs a parent that knows he needs a helmet, and he needs a parent that knows that he needs to take a nap, because otherwise he could injure himself because he's so wound up.
Right.
He's extremely wound up as a child. With that moon at 22, that's very temperamental. Let me just tell you, the twos are going to be terrible twos.
Hmm.
Going to be
Interesting.
very, very temperamental emotionally.
Uh-huh.
So in the first, so every year of our life is a different step number.
Okay.
So from 0 to 1, the child is still separating from the mother. The whole first year, the child is still figuring out it's not its mother. It takes a whole year to realize it's not its mother, right? Or whatever parent's holding it. Now, because this child has been adopted, he's had a rude forced boundary upon him. So his
Hmm.
foundation is very hot and cold.
Hmm.
Then step 1, the whole year of being 1 years old is all about your heart. So what the
Hmm.
child loves and doesn't love. The second year, step 2, the entire year is about the child's emotions and emotional disposition, which is why they're the terrible twos, because the child is now they're experiencing their emotions for the first time,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Age 3 is I believe, their belief structure. Age 4 is really when their personality comes online. They figure out they like this, they don't like that.
Right.
Age 5, their mind comes online, which is step 5. So this is a child that has very fractured boundaries, having been abandoned as a child.
Yeah.
Um, and so these first couple of years are really important as far as safety and love.
Huh. Okay.
He needs safety and love, and he really needs to actually be in touch with where his safetyness is. Where his safety net, like what makes you feel safe. And I know he can't understand you, but his consciousness can.
Right.
So you can talk
Right.
to that baby and be like, "Do you feel safe now?"
Right.
Like, where's the
Mm.
wall? Where's the line?
Wow.
You know, so just sort of like make him aware of boundaries. Because if he's really aware of boundaries, which he is, he's been rudely awakened by being abandoned. So he knows on and off, like he knows the line in some ways. But what tends to happen is when you have a boundary like that, such a harsh boundary, the child will then overcompensate with their boundaries,
Mm.
hold on to the teddy bear too much,
Mm.
right? Not let go of the inner tube at the beach, like
Right.
unwilling to. So he needs high resolution boundaries. So a person like you is really appropriate for him because he needs to know, like, sometimes it's yes, sometimes it's no. We have to feel through it. It's not black and white.
Right. And Scorpio energy, if I understand correctly, is a lot of protection.
Scorpios are all black and white. Like that's what they are. They understand. Yeah, it is protection. They know where the wall is. So it's like
Right.
if I called you sexy right now, would that be too far? A Scorpio knows, right? Like, nope, that's too far. Like
Right.
they know where the line is. Like,
Yeah.
so, and this is a kid who has really poor boundaries because he's been abandoned by his mother, for adoption.
Hmm.
So so as a result, he needs to be constantly looking at where is that line? Like, where is the line? Where
Yeah.
do I feel safe? Because what he'll do with his energy is he will overrun the line to see if he can get away with it. Like
Hmm.
he'll cross lines. He's so ambitious as a 29-degree Aries. He's very ambitious. He won't wonder. He'll try. It'll be like, I wonder if I can fly. He'll try. He'll try to fly. Like, this is where this kid needs boundaries because he'll try it.
Right.
He's not reluctant to try anything.
Right. That's very interesting. And what's like really standing out when you said about the, from 0 to age 1 is, figuring out who his parents are. And right now he's with foster parents
Okay. Yeah.
that are like super loving. They're more like grandparents. They're an older couple, but they just like love him to pieces. Just keep on referring to how delicious he is.
Oh.
So it's just kind of interesting that during this time when he's figuring out who his parents are, the universe is figuring out who his parents are too.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because he's
Well,
not in his forever home.
but his soul chose his parents.
Yeah,
He's those parents are destined. So there's nothing about a childhood that's not destined. The fact that
right.
his mom gave him
Absolutely.
up, the fact that he has other parents, he has this wound of abandonment probably somewhere in his chart. Looking at his Pluto, like I don't know, Pluto's in Capricorn, I guess.
Pluto is actually 0 degrees Aquarius.
Pluto at 0 is means that he has chronic boundary issues.
Wow.
Chronic. So
Wow.
and how's that begin? Being adopted.
Right.
Like that's
Right.
Pluto. That's the first slap in the face, Pluto. So what this guy probably is probably some sort of a soldier and a fighter in a past life where the boundaries were set by his commanding officer and he doesn't have any awareness of where the line is on his own because he's always been told what to do.
Right. Right.
And he's completely mapping out for the first time in this lifetime where is the boundary. He has the power, and once he gets a boundary he'll stick to it crazy. So you're going to find like a weird back black and white. He's going to, like, how do I put this, he'll be like, he'll commit. Once he learns it, he'll commit to too much. So he'll be
Mm.
without boundaries, like running out in the street. And then once he realizes he has to cross to the crosswalk, he will scream like a crazy person if you don't try to cross, if you try to jaywalk. Like he's going to be like,
Mm.
so he's going to be boundaryless, and then he's going to be Nazi about his boundaries
Wow.
once he
So,
defines it.
so
That's
there's
the black
some,
and white.
uh-huh.
And some people have said, someone said who's a Scorpio. I'm a Scorpio. I'm not black and white. But you have
Yeah.
to understand, Scorpio starts black and white, and then Scorpio becomes shades of gray. And so shades of gray is a very wise Scorpio. Black and white is a very young Scorpio, just for
Right.
the
Right.
record. So yeah, as you become more sophisticated, the boundaries become more gray, which is
Uh-huh.
like on a Tuesday, but not on a Wednesday. That's a gray boundary. Black and white would be like never during the week. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Right.
kind of thing. So interesting that you have this little one in your, that you're watching over him. And I would say that, you have the medicine this child needs with all those planets in Scorpio. He's completely Scorpio ignorant and he has a tendency to go too far. So I would just say in the very beginning, like, boundaries are so important with this kid.
Right.
And
Right.
just talking about it, like, where's the line? Where do you feel the line is? Where do you feel the line is with this? Okay, we'll make that the line.
Mm.
Is
Wow.
how I would manage that child. Yeah.
Okay. Beautiful.
Yay.
Wow. Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching this recording and reviewing it because I feel like it's a lot and it's
It
a lot of
is.
beautiful things. And yeah, and this child, like every child, deserves to have a beautiful home with lots of love and security and support to launch into a great journey.
Well, and you are a great soul for helping these women and this child. So kudos to you, my lady.
Um,
You're doing good work on the planet. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. That's
My
my goal.
pleasure. Yeah, well, you're doing it. So
Yay.
make sure you give yourself a little credit with the sun and Jupiter, with sun and Taurus this next couple weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, take the credit. Take the credit.
Okay, I'll try. It's challenging, but I'll do my best.
Don't worry. I mean, let the world try to challenge that. You shouldn't be the one to challenge that credit.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Much love to you.
Thank you
Be
so
well.
much.
Ciao for now.
Ciao for now.
All right, everyone. This has been a lot of fun. I'm so grateful for the 4 guests that we had up here today. I do think you'll have to click there. There she goes. She figured it out. We went a little over, but that's because we started a little late. It's always so nice to be with you guys. I love the Human Garage crowd. You guys have great big hearts. I'm looking forward to seeing you in person and giving you hugs. I'll be hanging around Human Garage the entire week in Austin, by the way. So if you happen to be hanging out with Gary or coming to the event, you will see me there. I'll be totally doing selfies and answering questions. So I look forward to seeing you. Otherwise, I will see you on Monday for Astro Monday with Gary, and then next week, a week from now, on Thursday again. Until then, I love you. Be good to yourself. I'll see you in a week. Ciao.